thinking for a while that this sport bumper doesn't look too good on my second gen. So I hit up my guys at Move Bumpers and they sent me out their precision bumper kit for this second gen right here. So if you guys don't know what Move Bumpers are, they are basically a DIY version of a front bumper kit. So they send you all the steel that you need, pre-cut, pre-bent and everything. All you have to do is weld it, and that makes them a lot cheaper than some of the other off-road bumpers that you don't have to weld yourself. So you can save a lot of money doing it yourself than buying one that's already welded. Talking about welding, I'm going to be using my PrimeWeld MTS200. We're going to be doing some MIG welding today. This is a multi-process welder, so you can do MIG, TIG, stick, flux core. It does it all. But anyway, let's get right into it. Big shout out to Move Bumpers for sending this bumper out. But they didn't just hook me up, they hooked you guys up too. So use my discount code Dippin Diesel at checkout. On orders more than $495, save $50 off of your order. I'll leave a link in the description below to Move Bumpers website where you can check out all their bumper kits and many more. With that being said, let's go ahead and take this front bumper off, get to welding. So when I tell you I'm excited about how this bumper is already turning out, I really mean it. I am super excited. I just posted a picture on Instagram and you guys are loving the bumper. But here we go, we have it tacked in place. I have the mounts for it loose on the frame just so I can get everything to fit. Everything is fitting flawlessly. Got it tacked in. Got the pod bracket tacked in right there. Those squiggly lines are where you can mount your pod lights in there. 30-inch light bar, and then you got some more pods on this side. So everything is fitting really good. But yeah, overall, man, this thing is looking way better with this Move bumper than this sport bumper. I don't know why, years ago when I had my other truck, I always thought that sport bumpers looked really good. And then I had a chance to buy one. I bought this for like 70 bucks off of Facebook Marketplace. And it just didn't go with this truck. It just didn't look good. Maybe if it was painted a different color, but it just didn't look good. It didn't fit right. But this bumper right here, man, this is gonna set it off. You guys are gonna figure out what color I'm wrapping it in this video because I have to powder coat this. Just bought the powder this morning. So when we get this fully welded, it'll be a few days before we get powder coating it because it starts to come in. But you'll find out the color that I'm wrapping it with the powder choice that I chose. So once we do the wrap, get this bumper done, get the coilovers and build a flatbed, man, this thing is going to look money, man. I am super excited, man. And then the welder, the PrimeWeld welder right here. This is the first time I've MIG'd with this unit right here. I just don't have gas in my house, so I haven't used it. I've stick welded with it. Stick weld is pretty good. I stick welded the brackets for the brakes on this truck with it. But this welder, I'm running it at 22.6 volts at 310 inches per minute. And it's tacking really good. Getting really good penetration just in the tacks. Be interesting to see how well it does when we start doing full welds. Just finished the wire wheel on the welds. I got like 75% of the welds done. I still have to do the pockets where the pods go, and then the inside where the bracket meets the bumper that holds it on the truck. But overall, I always tell you guys that I am not a professional welder. I am a DIY welder, so don't have too much experience welding, but I've welded a decent amount. Not a ton, but the welds on here, they're not the best. I'll show you guys some here in a second, but I think for this bumper, I got really good penetration, and I'm gonna end up grinding these smooth anyway, so I have a smooth bumper. If you wanted to have the weld showing, I recommend probably TIG welding this. If you want to have pretty welds, you can have pretty welds with MIG welding, but I'm not the person to do that. But overall, for my experience level, it came out good. All right, guys, it is a few days later. I took the weekend off, but we are back working on the move bumper. So I just went to Walmart, picked up some flap discs, and I've only used one to grind all this down, which is pretty good. I guess my welds were good enough. The way that this bumper is built, when all these pieces are connected together, except for, or at least in my case, except for the top right here and the top right here, all of it had like an 1/8 of an inch gap. So you can really put in some weld, and that makes it so that you can actually grind it down. What I actually did on this bumper, I'm not sure if it says it in the directions, but I went ahead and took this bumper off. Now, disclaimer, you really want to build this bumper to the truck, like on the truck, so you know everything's fitting right. But once I had the whole front welded, I took it off and stitch welded the back. So all of these welds right here that I ground down, they have stitch welds all on the back side. So hopefully that will reinforce it, and with me grinding it down, it doesn't compromise the structural integrity of the bumper for me grinding it down. Now, there is a couple places that I have to add some more weld, mainly just on the corners. I just didn't add enough, so when I ground it down, it's looking pretty flat. So I need to just add a couple more hot welds. I'll probably turn that welder up quite a bit to burn that weld in. So when I grind it down, it doesn't have pinholes in it. So I got to do that. And the only thing I really have to grind down next is the corners where they meet the body and the headlights, because I got to take the bumper off to do that. But pretty much everything else is flat, looking dang good. I am super excited, and the powder just came in for the bumpers, so let's check that out. And one more thing really quick before we look at the powder. This bumper came with the tow hooks on the bottom. Now, I've been looking at it. I like it better without these tow hooks here. I don't think I'm going to be doing much pulling with this bumper, so I am not going to be adding these tow hooks on. There's one for each side. If you go on the website, you can see what it looks like with the tow hooks. But I'm not going to be adding these, but this is where you would add them if you wanted to add them. I just personally think it looks better without these hooks, so I'm not going to add them on. And that's what's good about a bumper that you weld yourself. If you don't like something, you don't have to add it. So let's take a look at that powder now. So I actually have two boxes right here. You will see this box in another video, Boost Auto Parts. But here is the powder from Prismatic. Like I said, this color is meant to hopefully match the color of the wrap. So if it doesn't, it's not really a big deal, but I just hope it will match the color of the wrap, because Prismatic said it will match metallic dark gray. And I'll put a picture on the screen right here of what that wrap is gonna look like. But this color is laser black. And like I said, Prismatic said it is a color match to metallic dark gray. So yeah, I bought 3 pounds of it, which is probably a little overkill, but I'd rather have more powder than I need to, because I may end up doing 2 coats of laser black and then a coat of clear, just to give it the most protection as far as powder that it can get. So, and also there is one thing that it wasn't really a big deal. I still have to fix it, but one thing on this bumper that wasn't quite right. We are looking at the passenger side hole where the pods go. Now on the other side, I welded this crease right here, or this bend where the 2 pieces of metal meet, which this isn't really a big deal. I'm not knocking move, because stuff happens, stuff doesn't get bent all the way. But this piece right here, I should have done it before I welded this on there, but I forgot. But I just have a tack weld. I didn't weld this part in yet on the back side, so I can break that tack weld and bend this in. But it's just a little bit bigger gap than it should. It should have got bent a little bit more. Yeah, but that's really the only complaint that I have with this bumper so far, is that one fog light hole or LED cube hole. This didn't get bent quite enough, but this side, it got bent the way that it was supposed to. It was pretty much touching the other piece of metal with a little bit of a gap for you to fill in with the weld. And that side was just a little bit bigger. But overall, that is really the only complaint I have with this move bumper. Everything else fit perfectly, and I have no other complaints. But like I said, I welded it from the back. With these cube holes, I didn't weld any on the inside. I welded it all from the back side, so you can see the heat from the back side. Let's see if I can see any other heat. I welded this plate in here on both sides, so it's on front and back. I wasn't too sure what this plate was for, and then Chase was like, oh, they probably put it there so if you hit something right here, that plate gives it more rigidity and it won't bend. He kind of explained it like an I-beam. It gives it more strength. So that is welded on top and bottom, and I'm not going to grind those down. I think I like the way that looks with the welds, because they're pretty welds. I'm not going to grind those down. And then the tabs for the LED light bar, I still have not ordered that yet, so we won't be able to do it in this video, but we will be putting 2 pods on each side, so a total of 4 pods, and then a 30-inch light bar inside that bumper. I'm gonna go ahead and bend that fog light bracket back and weld it up, and then just add a little bit more weld to all the corners. Kind of didn't show you. See how it's pretty flat and there's a crater in there? It's just because it didn't get enough weld on the corner. So I'm just gonna throw some weld on there, but everything else, so we gotta grind that down. Dimes, baby. But yeah. And then after we do that, we can take it to the big sandblaster, because it's not gonna fit in the sandblast cabinet, and sandblast this thing, and then Caitlin will powder coat it and we'll get it on the truck. I'm super excited. Hope you guys are too. Let's get to work. But first things first, please excuse the misalignment of the bumper. It's kind of hard to do it by yourself while you're trying to bolt in and hold it up. But anyway, as far as the powder coating, we just got done with it a few days ago, and I have finally been able to throw it on the truck, the Move bumper. The color came out awesome. Now there's two problems that we're gonna have to deal with. One is the color that I showed you earlier in the video of the metallic dark gray that the wrap is gonna be. It looks nothing like it. So we are going to probably have to blast this bumper again. Once we get the wrap, I'm not gonna do it right now because I wanna actually know what the wrap is, like in person, see what it looks like in person, and that way I can better judge getting a color match to that metallic dark gray. Because this is a metallic dark gray color match, which a lot of different companies come out with a lot of different metallic dark grays. And this one probably would match a metallic dark gray car. But the wrap that I'm getting, it looks nothing like it. So we will probably have to sandblast and recoat this thing. Which comes to our next problem, which isn't really a big deal since I am going to be blasting this bumper again and powder coating it again. But while it was in the oven at 400 degrees, it was my mistake. I used the lighter gauge hooks to hang this bumper up instead of the big thick ones. And it fell in the oven. It was totally my mistake. I was the one that hung the bumper up, and I take full responsibility for it. So some of the powder did get chipped off, and it is messed up in some spots, like the front right here where it landed. It kind of squished it a little bit. The corners that hit the ground, like right here on that side, and a little bit right here where it landed and was laying on the ground for like 2 minutes because we heard it hit the ground. The powder did get messed up. So unfortunately, the finish didn't come out exactly how I wanted it to, mainly because the bumper fell in the oven. It's kind of a good thing that the color doesn't look like the metallic dark gray wrap, from the pictures at least, because I would be fixing this. I would be sanding it down and throwing another coat. I think I have 1 pound left. We would have been able to do sand it down and try to blend in the spots that got messed up with that extra pound. But looking back now, it's not really a big deal. I was so mad when I heard that thing hit the ground. Me and Chase were sitting up here and we're like, what was that? And he's like, dude, the bumper fell. I'm like, no. We opened the door, it's laying on the ground, and the hooks were just completely bent out. At 400 degrees, might not seem too hot when usually stuff burns at like 1600, but it will get that metal malleable and bend those hooks out. So whenever you're hanging up a heavy bumper, always use heavy gauge hooks in the oven when you're powder coating. But overall, this was my Move bumper build for my 2001 Dodge Ram 2500. We have a lot more to do to this truck. Axle swap, wrap, flatbed build. We're gonna get rid of that flatbed. So guys, definitely stay tuned. Big shout out to Move bumpers. Go ahead and hit the link in the description below if you guys want to learn more about Move bumpers, and use my promo code Dippin Diesel to get $50 off of your order, $495 or more. And also shout out to PrimeWeld for sending out the welder. I was super surprised. That was the first time I MIG welded with that welder, and it actually did pretty good for this bumper. I will also have a link down below where you can pick that MIG TIG stick welder up for yourself. It is a very good starter machine in my opinion. So guys, definitely stay tuned. If you guys want to check out more videos on this 2001 Dodge Ram 2500, I have a ton on my channel. So guys, definitely check them out. Subscribe if you guys are new. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Dippin Diesel out.